It was 9:42 a.m. when the call ended. My job assignment had been cancelled. No warning. Just a flat statement and a quiet pause on the other end of the line. You've got 2 months to move back to Aberdeen, and you'll need to vacate the company property. I stood in the hallway, phone still in hand, heart racing. Not just from the shock, but from everything that moment disrupted. My wife had just started a university program she cared deeply about. My son had finally settled into nursery. We were building something that was just gaining momentum. And now, all of it was being called into question. In today's video, I want to share what happened when we chose to embrace change instead of retreat. Not just for the story, but for what it revealed. Because over the next 18 months, we downsized, made bold career shifts, took on risk we didn't feel fully ready for, and saw our household income grow by over 70%. But this isn't really about money. It's about identity. It's about what becomes possible when you refuse to shrink your future to fit your present circumstances and start building a life that matches the vision you've quietly carried for years. Right after the call, I walked into the living room and sat in silence. It wasn't just the assignment that had ended. It was the illusion of certainty. For the first time in a long while, I had no default plan. And everything, all that we had been building, was suddenly up in the air. There was an option on the table: return to Aberdeen. That would have been the simpler choice because Aberdeen was comfortable. It was familiar. We still had a house there, a support network, and a life we'd built for 7 years. But something in me, something in us, knew that comfort was about to become a cage. And that night marked the start of a season that would stretch our finances, our resolve, and our faith, but ultimately transform everything. I remember sitting with my wife that night, both of us processing what this meant. She had shut down her thriving business in Aberdeen to follow me, and had just enrolled in a full-time Montessori course, something she'd dreamed of for years. Then she said it, gently but firmly. "Bud, if you want to go back to Aberdeen, you'll be going alone. Our son and I are staying in London." There was no bitterness in her voice, just a calm resolve. I realized that she wasn't trying to corner me, but was calling us back to alignment, back to what we both knew, that deep down, we weren't supposed to retreat. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. I'd spent most of my adult life making strategic decisions, logical, well-reasoned, and risk-mitigated. But this wasn't about logic anymore. This was about taking a stand for the future I desired, about refusing to shrink back into something that no longer fit, even if it offered comfort. I looked at her and nodded. I didn't know how it would work, but I was certain that if the company was going to do what served it best, then I needed to do the same for us. So we started looking for a place of our own. But just as we were finalizing a rental in London, we got another call. This time from Aberdeen, letting us know that our tenants were giving notice. The house we still owned, our financial fallback, was about to sit empty right in the middle of the pandemic. That changed everything. Suddenly, we weren't just renting a new place in one of the most expensive cities in the UK. We were also carrying a full mortgage on a vacant property. We now had 2 homes and 2 sets of bills. But now, with no company subsidy and no external support, just us, and a decision we couldn't undo. For the first time in a long while, we had to walk by faith in the most practical day-to-day sense. My wife started tutoring again to get extra income. We trimmed back, cut costs, and even downsized into a 2-bedroom flat. While this was a humbling experience, we were resolute and committed, choosing to stay faithful to the vision we both agreed was worth fighting for. And in the midst of that stretch, something else started to shift. I began rethinking my career entirely. I'd spent over a decade in technical roles, following the safe, structured path designed by the company. But I knew there was more in me. I didn't want to just deliver. I wanted to move from problem solver to strategist. So I took the leap and pursued a commercial role. This was something that felt completely outside my comfort zone. That one decision led to another. I spent time in our trading division, then eventually moved into a group strategy role. 2 amazing opportunities that I could not have accessed from Aberdeen, or even imagined from the vantage point of that initial disruption. At the same time, my wife was building something beautiful from the corner of our 2-bedroom flat. What started as homeschooling our son evolved into tutoring, then into selling digital Montessori resources, and eventually into coaching other parents who wanted to bring that same intention into their homes. Within a year, she had over 20,000 followers on Instagram, and a thriving community forming around the work she loved. And as I look back on that season now, it's clear, none of it would have happened if we'd played it safe. The growth, the clarity, the income, yes, but more than that, it was who we became in the process. And it all began after we stopped protecting what we had and started reaching for what we were truly called to build. So, let me leave you with these questions. What part of your life is still shaped by who you used to be? And what might shift if you gave yourself permission to grow beyond it? So, if you've been feeling the quiet nudge to stop settling and start honouring the vision you've carried, then I'd recommend watching episode 7 next. It's called What Happens When You Take a Big Risk. In many ways, it's the emotional twin to what you just heard. You'll find the link in the description below. And if today's episode resonated with you, take a moment to like, subscribe, share it with someone you care about, and join the newsletter at thefacelesscoach.com. And remember, just because something is working doesn't mean it's still meant for you. We at The Faceless Coach believe in you. You've got this.